Hello, welcome to part 4 of the file management lecture series. We're going to be looking at a few commands here, and some of it's backtracking a little bit. For instance, let's look at our slides here for our class, and we're going to look at, we've seen remove directory and make directory already. Those are relatively easy. Let me pull up the file here. So we can make directory temp3, and as long as it's a different name, it'll let us do it. It can't have the same name as a file or directory. And of course, to remove it, we just say remove directory, temp directory 3. It must be empty. Remember that. If there are things in it, it won't let you do it. It'll give you an error message. Okay. Now let's move on to difference. Okay. I have two files here. ls road, not asterisk. Two files, road.back. Let me expand them a little bit here. Road.back and road.text, and you can see right off the hand that they're different sizes. I've made some changes in them. So let's look at the difference of them. The diff command works like this. You want to say diff, and it's going to expect two file names, road.back and road.text. And you say, okay, well, here's the differences right there. On line 10, character 10, then took the other as just as fair. Notice that the E and the A, and then right here, both either and either. Those are the two changes that I made in those particular files. Okay, so it's going to show you those. Okay, now let's look at the options that we have. Okay, let's go in here, diff, and we can say -A, treat all files as text. That's kind of the default anyway. You can say -B, ignore changes in amount of white space, and you can say -B, ignore changes that just insert or delete blank lines. So let's go and look at that. Pico road.text, and I'm going to insert some blank lines here. Okay, I'm going to save those, and now we'll do a clear, and then we're going to do a diff road.back and road.text, and you notice, oh, hey, we got a bunch of other lines up here. Well, let's use some of those options in here. Okay, for instance, it says ignore changes, just insert or delete blank lines. So let's just do the uppercase B right there, and you'll see we get the same results as we did last time. Okay. Now then, let's go into Pico road.text, and let's do this. Let's go down here and change this to A and D, and then go down here and change this to TO. Okay, so those are cases. Okay, so we're going to run our command again. It says knows. Now notice that it didn't ignore the case. Okay, so if we wanted to ignore the case, we can just say -I. Okay, so we're going to say -I along with that B. We're going to put it right there, and you notice that we just get the same instances that we did before. So that's difference. A very handy thing to know how to do. Differences. Well, now that we've got those down, we want to talk about the use of wildcards. We've kind of touched on it before, in that wildcards is the asterisk. They're usually designed to indicate a pattern. Let me spell that pattern, and used to specify multiple files that match a pattern. So the valid file name characters are lowercase a through z, uppercase a through z, the digits 0 through 9, the underscore, the dash, and the period. Spaces are also allowed in Unix, but we don't like them, and let me show you why we don't like them. Let's say I touch a file, and I say touch then I have to do this myfile.dat. Okay, so it creates it. Okay, myfile.dat. But the problem with that file is that anytime I use it, because it's got a space in it, I've got to put quotes around it. Okay, so if I say remove it, I've got to say, if I say remove myfile.dat, it says, oh, well, those files don't exist. So what I have to do is I have to put a quote around it, like this. Okay, now it's gone. So you can use them, we just don't like to. So the rules are this: the asterisk matches 0 or more characters. Remember, 0 or more characters of any characters of those characters above. The question mark matches a single character. Must be at least one character. Well, only one character. Must match one character. And then we can have a set of characters. The set of characters is what makes this very, very interesting. Okay. All right. So sets. This is a set, and what I'm doing is I'm putting things in a square bracket. You notice the square brackets down here. What this means is I'm going to look for one or more of the characters, the V1046 or lowercase r. This one, because the dash is in there, matches one or more upper or lowercase letters. And this one matches one or more digits. Let me spell that right. Digits, and the characters A, B, C, D, E, or F, A through F. Okay, so look at the examples down here. Okay, here I'm looking for ls dash L auto asterisk. So what it's going to do is going to give me a long listing of any file that starts with auto. This one is looking for all the files that end in .zip. This is going to remove any file that has the word catch in it, followed by a single character, and then followed by the number 2. Okay, this one's interesting. This one is I'm going to list the files that starts with an F, an M, or a T, has the word file in it, and then ends in a 0 through 9. Notice this is real dangerous. It removes all the files. So let's actually kind of look at that and play around with this a little bit. Okay, oops, the lowercase. Okay, clear. So there's all our files. So if I wanted to list all the files that started with a uppercase F and then ended in anything, there they are. And let me go ahead and make them one per line so you can kind of see them. Back up like that. Okay. Okay. Now let me show you the question mark. The question mark is ls-1. Okay. File question mark. Okay. Single character. Okay. Dot asterisk. So it's a combination of the asterisk wildcard and the question mark. And what it's going to do is after file, it's going to look for a single character. Any single character before the period will do, and it's going to come up with pretty much the same list of that we have right there. Okay. Now let me do this. Let me create a file here. I'm going to touch a file called file1.dat, and I'm going to touch a file2.txt, and touch file3.dat, and touch file4.txt. Now you'll notice it's a lowercase f, so it's a different file name. Okay, and there are also no colors. It's the permissions that they have on. All right, so what I want to do here is I want to do an ls of any file that starts with a lowercase f or an uppercase f, has the word ile, has any character before that, and starts with anything. Okay, and there they are right there. And let me go ahead and list them one per line. And that's a pretty good exercise of that particular feature. So that's a very brief example of sets that you can use in Unix. Okay, let me bring this back over here. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to cover chmod right now. That's actually better done under the directory management series. So we're going to finish up the makeup lecture with this. Please practice this, go through these commands and make sure you know how to use them very, very well. What I want you to do now is I want you to go to the Blackboard site, or the Canvas site actually, and I'll pull it up here, fsu.instructure.com, and pull it back over here and log in. I'll show you what I want you to do. Okay. Type in the correct password. Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to go in here and I want you to go into assignments after you've finished all of the lectures, and I want you to go down here to miscellaneous commands, and what I want you to do is in the text box that for submission I want you to type a message in it that says you have looked at all 4 videos, and hit enter. Okay, and we'll edit that. We'll say it's worth 1 point. Save, and we will publish. Alright, published. Very good. Alright, well, that concludes the series of lectures. No class tomorrow on the 23rd. We'll see you when I get back. Have a good time.